All glories to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, Chapter 18, Text 109. Prabhu kahi kahan paila Krishna darashana, Loka kahe sanyasi tumi jangama narayana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked, "Where have you seen Krishna directly?" Purport: The people replied, "You are a sannyasi, a renunciate. Therefore, you are a moving Narayana, Jangama Narayana." This is the viewpoint of the Mayavadi philosophy. Mayavadi philosophy supports the impersonalist view that Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has no form. One can imagine impersonal Brahman in any form, as Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Vivasvan, Ganesh, or Devi Durga. According to the Mayavad philosophy, when one becomes a sannyasi, he is to be considered a moving Narayana. Mayavad philosophy holds that the real Narayana does not move, because being impersonal, he has no legs. Thus, according to the Mayavad philosophy, whoever becomes a sannyasi declares himself Narayana. Foolish people accept such ordinary human beings as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Vivartavada. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that Jangama Narayana means that the impersonal Brahman takes a shape and moves here and there in the form of Mayavadi sannyasi. Mayavad philosophy confirms this. Danda Grahana Matrina Naro Narayana Bhavet. Simply by accepting the danda of the order of sannyas, one is immediately transformed into Narayana. Therefore, Mayavadi sannyasis address one another by saying Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. In this way, one Narayana worships another Narayana. Actually, an ordinary human being cannot become Narayana. As the chief Mayavadi sannyasi, Sri Shankaracharya says, Narayana Paro Vyaktat. Narayana is not a creation of this material world. Narayana is above the material creation. Due to their poor fund of knowledge, Mayavadi sannyasis think that Narayana, the absolute truth, takes birth as a human being, and that when he realizes this, he becomes Narayana again. They never consider why Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, would accept an inferior position as a human being, and then again become Narayana when he is perfect. Why should Narayana be imperfect? Why should he appear as a human being? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very nicely explained these points while at Vrindavan. "110. Vrindavane haila tumi Krishna avatara, Tumadeki sarva loka haila nistara." People then said, "You have appeared in Vrindavan as an incarnation of Krishna. Just by seeing you, everyone is now liberated." "111. Prabhu kahe Vishnu Vishnu ihana kahi ba, Jiradha me Krishna jnana Prabhu na kariba." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately exclaimed, "Vishnu, Vishnu, do not call me the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A jiva cannot become Krishna at any time. Do not even say such a thing." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately stated that a living being, however exalted he may be, should never be compared to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's preaching protests the monistic philosophy of the Mayavad school. The central point of Krishna consciousness is that the jiva, the living entity, can never be accepted as Krishna or Vishnu. This viewpoint is elaborated in the following verses. 112. Sannyasi chit kana jiva kirana kana sama Sarisvarya purna Krishna haya suryopama. A sannyasi in the renounced order is certainly part and parcel of the complete whole, just as a shining molecular particle of sunshine is part and parcel of the sun itself. Krishna is like the sun, full of six opulences, but the living entity is only a fragment of the complete whole. 113. Jiva isvara tattva kabuna he sama Svalhadagni rasi yarche sulingera kana. A living entity and the absolute personality of Godhead are never to be considered equal, just as fragmental spark can never be considered the original flame. Purport. Mayavadi sannyasis consider themselves Brahman, and they superficially speak of themselves as Narayana. The monastic disciples of the Mayavad school, known as Smarta Brahmanas, are generally householder Brahmanas, who accept the Mayavad sannyas as Narayana incarnate. Therefore, they offer their obeisances to them. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately protested this unauthorized system, specifically mentioning that a sannyasi is nothing but a fragmental portion of the Supreme, Chit Kana Jiva. In other words, he is nothing more than an ordinary living being. He is never Narayana, just as a molecular portion of the sunshine is never the sun itself. The living entity is nothing but a fragmental part of the absolute truth. Therefore, at no stage of perfection can a living entity become the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Mayavad viewpoint is always condemned by the Vaishnava school. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself protested this philosophy. When the Mayavadis accept sannyas and consider themselves Narayana, they become so puffed up that they do not even enter the temple of Narayana to offer respects. For they falsely think themselves Narayana himself. Although Mayavad sannyasis may offer respects to other sannyasis and address them as Narayana, they do not go to a Narayana temple and offer respects. These Mayavadi sannyasis are always condemned and are described as demons. The Vedas clearly state that living entities are subordinate parts and parcels to the Supreme. Eko bahunam yo vidati kaman. The Supreme Being Krishna maintains all living entities. 114. Adinya samvid ashlishta Satchidananda Isvaraha Swavidya Samvrito Jiva Sanklesha Nikarakara. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, is always full of transcendental bliss and is accompanied by the potencies known as Hladini and Samvit. The conditioned soul, however, is always covered by ignorance and embarrassed by the threefold miseries of life. Thus he is a treasure house of all kinds of tribulations. This quotation of Vishnu Swami is cited in Sridhar Swami's Bhavavarta Deepika, commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.6. 115. Yei mudha kahe jiva isvara haya sama setapa shandi haya dande tare yama. A foolish person who says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the same as the living entity is an atheist, and he becomes subject to punishment by the superintendent of death, Yamaraj. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that the word Pashandi refers to one who considers the living entity under the control of the illusory energy to be equal with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all material qualities. Another kind of Pashandi is one who does not believe in the spirit soul, superior potency of the Lord, and therefore does not distinguish between spirit and matter. While describing one of the offenses against chanting the holy names, specifically the offense called Shruti Shastra Nindana, blaspheming the Vedic literature, Jiva Goswami states in his Bhakti Sandarbha Yatha Pashanda Margena Tata Treyar Shabha Devo Pashakhanam Pasandinam. Worshippers of impersonalists like Dattareya are also Pashandis. Concerning the offense of Aham Mama Buddhi or Dehatma Buddhi, considering the body to be the self, Jiva Goswami states, Deva Dravinadi Nimitaka Pashanda Sabdhena Cha Dasa Paradha Eva Lakshante Pashanda Mayatva Tesam. Those who are overly absorbed in the conception of the body and the bodily necessities are also called Pashandis. Elsewhere in the Bhakti Sandarbha, it is stated, Udishya devata eva juhoti cha dadati cha sapashanditi vijanyeha svatantro vapi karmasu. A Pashandi is one who considers the demigods and the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be one. Therefore, a Pashandi worships any kind of demigod as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who disobeys the orders of the spiritual master is also considered a Pashandi. The word Pashandi has been described in many places in Srimad Bhagavatam, including 4.2.28, 30, and 32, 5.69, 5.6.9, and 12.2.13, and 3.43. On the whole, a Pashandi is a non-devotee who does not accept the Vedic conclusions. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas 1.117, there is a verse quoted from the Padma Purana describing the Pashandi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes this verse as the following text. 116. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahmarudradi Daivatai Samat Vinhaiva Viksheta Sapashandi Bhavedruvam. A person who considers demigods like Brahma and Shiva to be on an equal level with Narayana is to be considered an offender, or a Pashandi. 117. Lotakahe tomate kabu nahe jiva mati Krishnera sadrisha tomara akriti prakriti. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the difference between an ordinary living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the people said, no one considers you an ordinary human being. You are like Krishna in every aspect, in every respect, in both bodily features and characteristics. 118. Akrityeto mare deki brajendra nandana dehakanti pitambara kaila achadhana. By your bodily features, we can see that you are none other than the son of Nanda Maharaj, although the golden luster of your body has covered your original complexion. 119. Durgamara vastre bande tabuna lukhaya Isvara svabhavato mara daka nahiyaya. As the aroma of beer musk cannot be concealed by wrapping it in cloth, your characteristics as the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be concealed by any means. 120. Alokika prakriti tomara buddhi agochara tomadeki Krishna premi jagad pagala. Indeed, your characteristics are uncommon and beyond the imagination of an ordinary living being. Simply by seeing you, the entire universe becomes mad with ecstatic love for Krishna. 121 through 122. Sribala Vridhara Chandala Yavana Yeito Mara Ekabara Ayadara Shana Krishna Nama Dayana Sehana Unma Ata Acharya Haila Sei tarila jagata. If they see you just once, even women, children, old men, meat-eaters, and members of the lowest caste immediately chant the holy name of Krishna, dance like madmen, and become spiritual masters capable of delivering the whole world. 123. Narasanera karya achukaye tomara namasune seyi Krishna prema mata tare tribhuvane. Apart from seeing you, whoever listens to your holy name is made mad with ecstatic love for Krishna and is able to deliver the three worlds. 124. Tomara nama suni haya svapacha pavana alaukika shakti tomara nayaya katana. Simply by hearing your holy name, dog-eaters become holy saints. Your uncommon potencies cannot be described in words. 125. Yannamadeya shravanam kirtanad yat pravanad yat smaranad api kvachit svadopi sadhya sabhanaya kalpate kuta punaste bhagavan nudarshanat. To say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of dog-eaters becomes immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. Purport. For an explanation of this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.6, see Madhya Lila, chapter 16, text 186. 126. Eita mahimato mara tatasta lachana swarupa lakshane tumi rajendra nandana. These glories of yours are only marginal. Originally, you are the son of Maharaja Nanda. The original characteristics of a substance are called Swarupa, and the subsequent corollaries are called Tatastha Lakshana, or marginal characteristics. The glories of the Lord's marginal characteristics prove him to be the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaj Nanda. As soon as one understands this, one accepts Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. 127. Sei sabaloke prabhu prashada karila Krishna preme mata loka jagare gela. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then bestowed his causeless mercy upon all the people there, and everyone became ecstatic with love of God. Finally, they all returned to their homes. 128. Ei mata katadina akure rahila Krishna nama prema diya loka nistarila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained for some days in Akrura Tirtha. He delivered everyone there simply by distributing the holy name of Krishna in ecstatic love for the Lord. 129. Madhava Puri Rasisya Sita Brahmana Mathurara Gare Gare Karana Nimantrana. The Brahmana disciples of Madhavendra Puri went from house to house in Mathura and inspired other Brahmanas to invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to their homes. "130. Mathurara Yathaloka Brahmana Sajana Ratacharya Stane Yasi Kare Nimantrana." Thus all respectable people of Mathura, headed by the Brahmanas, came to Balabhadra Bhattacharya and extended invitations to the Lord. 131. Ekadina dasavisha arsheni mantrana Vatacharya ekira matra karena grahana. In one day, 10 to 20 invitations were received, but Balabhadra Bhattacharya would not accept only one of them. Balabhadra Bhattacharya would accept only one of them. 132. Avasara na pachaloka na mantra na dite sei vipresa he loka ni mantra na nite. Since not everyone got an opportunity to offer invitations to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, those who did not request the Sanodiya Brahmana to ask the Lord to accept their invitations. Those who did not requested the Sanodiya Brahmana to ask the Lord to accept their invitations. 133. Kanyakubja dakshintayera varika brahmana Danyakari kare maha prabhura nimantrana. The Brahmanas from different places, such as Kanyakubja and South India, who were all strict followers of the Vedic religion, offered invitations to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great humility. 134. Prathakale akrure asi randhana kariya prabhure bhiksha dena sala grame samartiya. In the morning they would come to a Guru-tirtha and cook food. After offering it to the Salagram Srila, they offered it to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport. There are Brahmanas known as Pancha Gauda Brahmanas, who come from the 5 places in northern India, and there are Brahmanas known as Pancha Dakshinataya Brahmanas, who come from the 5 places in southern India. In northern India, the places are Kanyakubja, Saraswata, Gauda, Vatila, and Utkala. In southern India, the places are Andhra, Karnataka, Gujarat, Dravida, and Maharashtra. The Brahmanas from these places are considered to be very strict followers of the Vedic principles, and they are accepted as pure Brahmanas. They strictly observe Vedic principles and are not polluted by tantric misdeeds. All of these Brahmanas respectfully invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for lunch. 135. Ekadina seiya krura gatara upara Vasi Mahaprabhu kichu karena vichare. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat at the bathing ghat of Agura Tirtha and thought the following thoughts. Purport. Agura Tirtha is located on the road between Vrindavan and Mathura. When Krishna and Balaram were being taken to Mathura by Agura, the Lord rested at this place and took his bath in the Yamuna. When Krishna and Balaram took their baths, Agura saw the entire world of Vaikuntha within the water. The inhabitants of Vrindavan also saw the Vaikuntha planets in the water. 136. Eigate Agura Vaikuntha dekahila Rajabasi loka goloka sarna dharnashana kaila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought, at this bathing place Agura saw Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, and all the inhabitants of Raja saw Goloka Vrindavan. 137. Etabali jani padila jalera upare Lubiya rahila prabhu jalera bitare. While considering how Agura remained within the water, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately jumped in and stayed underwater for some time. 138. Dekhi Krishna Dasakandi Pukara Karila Bhattacharya Sigra Asi Prabhure Utaila. When Krishna Das saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was drowning, he cried and shouted very loudly. Balabhadra Bhattacharya immediately came and pulled the Lord out. 139. Tabe Bhattacharya Sei Brahmane Lahana Yuti Karila Kichu Nibrite Vashiya. After this, Balabhadra Bhattacharya took the Sanodiya Brahmana to a secluded place and consulted with him. 140. Ajiyami Achilana Utalun Prabhure Vrindavani Dubena Yarike Utabe Tandre. Balabhadra Bhattacharya said, since I was present today, it was possible for me to pull the Lord up. But if he starts to drown at Vrindavan, who will help him? 141. Lokera Sangata Ara Nimantra Nera Janjala Nirantara Avesha Prabhurana Dikhiye Bala. Now there is a crowd of people here, and those invitations are causing much disturbance. In addition, the Lord is always ecstatic in emotion. I do not find the situation here very good. 142. Vrindavana Harte Yari Prabhure Kariye Tabe Mangala Haya Nebala Yuti Haye. It would be good if we could get Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu out of Vrindavan. That is my final conclusion. 143. Vitrakahe Prayage Prabhu Lana Yai Ganga Tire Pule Yai Tabe Stukapai. The Sanodiya Brahmana said, let us take him to Prayag and go along the banks of the Ganges. It will be very pleasurable to go that way. 144. Sorokshetre Ageyanya Kari Ganga Snana Seipate Prabhu Lana Kariye Ayana. After going to the holy places named Sorokshetra and bathing in the Ganges, let us take Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that way and go. 145. Maghamasa lagile ebiyade yaive makare prayag snana katadine paye. It is now the beginning of the month of Magha. If we go to Prayag at this time, we shall have an opportunity to bathe for a few days during the Makara Sankranti. Purport. Bathing during the month of Magha at the Magha Mela still takes place. This is a very old Mela assembly, dating from time immemorial. It is said that ever since the Lord, in the form of Mohini, took a bucket of nectar and kept it at Prayag, holy men have gathered there every year and observed Magha Mela. Every 12th year there is a Kumbha Mela, a great festival, and all the holy men from all over India assemble there. The Brahmana wanted to take advantage of the Magha Mela and bathe there. Bathing at the confluence of the Ganges and Yamuna, near the fort of Allahabad, Prayag, is mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Maghe Masi Gami Shanti Ganga Yamuna Sangamam Bhavam Sata Sasrasya Samyaghatam Chayat Balam Prayage Maghamase Vai Tri Aham Snatasya Tatpalam. If one goes to Prayag and bathes at the confluence of the Ganges and Yamuna, in the month of Magha, he attains the result of giving hundreds and thousands of cows in charity. Simply by bathing for 3 days there, he attains the results of such a pious activity. Because of this, the Sanodiya Brahmana was very eager to go to Prayag and bathe. Generally, karmis, fruitive laborers, take advantage of bathing there during the month of Magha, thinking that they will be rewarded in the future. Those who are situated in devotional service do not very strictly follow this karma khandya process. Thus ends our reading for today. All glories to Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Bhakti Charya Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Haribol.